Hello, it's me, Jarrett Casey, and you're joining me on September 11th. Well, it's actually the 12th, past midnight, but we're going to say the 11th at 12:16 a.m. on the 12th. So I just got off of work. Once again, this is Jarrett Casey, and we're here in Midvale, Utah. I'm going to make it quick today because I'm super tired, but today I woke up and immediately was like having some attack thoughts on my mind. And so I can't remember what they were. Oh, there were just these, I don't know, there's these beings or something that really want people to think poorly of me, I think, and kind of just disrupt my life and who I am and this connection that we have. And so by making me seem, I don't know, like a worse person than I am or something. But so they'll say things to try and freak people out. And it freaks me out. And it really bothers me because I know that I don't really know I've received psychic training on how to guard my mind. And I think that some people have come in that are just much more, they just know what they're doing. And they know how to do these things. And so I've done the best job I could. I used to feel, I've talked about this. I could like move my head and get a thought that I could feel coming my way being thrown by someone, or I could kind of clear my mind and it would go through, but I have to kind of be really vigilant and on top of it. And so sometimes when I'm tired or I'm not expecting it, they can just come right through me, and it just really bothers me because it seems like it's coming from me, but it's not, and I have to stop and go, okay, that wasn't me. I don't know who's saying that. I'm so sorry. I don't know how this all works. I really wish someone could train me, but that happened a series of times this morning as soon as I woke up. And so I got kind of depressed, and I didn't want to get out of bed until around 7:30. I finally got out of bed because someone started attacking me. It doesn't matter. Anyways, whatever. I sound paranoid. So it doesn't matter. So had a bad start to the morning. Got up, did fine, talked to my mom, did my little morning class, went to the gym. I did legs today. And then I came home and took a nap with Charlotte, which was really nice. And played my Star Trek Timelines game, which I just re-downloaded. I used to have it. It's just a space-time anomaly Star Trek game that I don't really know how to play very well, but I'm enjoying it. And then I went to work, and we were super busy, and I did very well tonight. And so now I'm here. So that was my day. Feeling good. I had a trainee tonight. I got to train someone, and so that was really nice that I could keep interacting with her. It kept my brain clear. And so I was just much more present. I don't really have much to report on as far as things we were talking about today because I didn't do a lot of it. So I'm good with that. So today, Chapter 3, The Innocent Perception, Section 6, Judgment and the Authority Problem. So Jesus says, we have already discussed the last judgment, but in insufficient detail. After the last judgment, there will be no more. Judgment is symbolic because beyond perception, there is no judgment. When the Bible says, judge not that ye not be judged, it means that if you judge the reality of others, you will be unavoidable to avoid judging your own. The choice to judge rather than to know is the cause of the loss of peace. Excuse me. Judgment is the process on which perception, but not knowledge, rests. I have discussed this before in terms of the selectivity of perception, pointing out that evaluation is its obvious prerequisite. Judgment always involves rejection. It never emphasizes only the positive aspects of what is judged, whether in you or in others. What has been perceived and rejected, or judged and found wanting, remains in your mind because it has been perceived. One of the illusions from which you suffer is the belief that what you judged against has no effect. This cannot be true unless you also believe that what you judged against does not exist. You evidently do not believe this, or you would not have judged against it. In the end, it does not matter whether your judgment is right or wrong. Either way, you are placing your belief in the unreal. This cannot be avoided in any type of judgment because it implies the belief that reality is yours to select from. You have no idea of the tremendous release and deep peace that comes from meeting yourself and your brothers totally without judgment. When you recognize what you are and what your brothers are, you will realize that judging them in any way is without meaning. In fact, their meaning is lost to you precisely because you are judging them. All uncertainty comes from the belief that you are under the coercion of judgment. You do not need judgment to organize your life, and you certainly do not need it to organize yourself. In the presence of knowledge, all judgment is automatically suspended. And this is the process that enables recognition to replace perception. You are very fearful of everything you have perceived but have refused to accept. You believe that because you have refused to accept it, you have lost control over it. This is why you see it in nightmares or in pleasant disguises in what seem to be your happier dreams. Nothing that you have refused to accept can be brought into awareness. It is not dangerous in itself, but you have made it seem dangerous to you. I'm not enjoying this. Just kidding. Yeah, it's hard because we judge a lot, I think. I usually just use judgment as like, so I've always looked at judgment a little differently than what Jesus is talking about here. I'm like, I've looked at it as a judge. I always thought, a judge not only determines guilt or whatever, but they also pass the sentence. So if somebody's judging you and they're like, oh, you're not good enough, and so we're going to deny you this thing, or they somehow pass a sentence onto you, or a punishment, or a price, or a cost, then that's judgment. But if someone's just like, you're not good enough, it's like, oh, okay, well, thank you. Well, neither are you. Just kidding. Actually, I am good enough, and so are you, but I'm sorry you don't see that. But I don't I don't know. So I guess, but that's also judgment, because it's what they perceive that I'm not good enough. And that's not true because I am good enough. But I do the same thing right back to people a lot of times, especially the people who tell me I'm not good enough. I think, well, you're not good enough. But then I'm just also judging them back. So it has been nice to try and practice letting go of that, and just allowing my misperception of people to still come. It comes quite often, but I just try and let it go and forgive it and remind myself that they are still perfect children of God, and I'm not seeing them clearly, and that's okay. I don't want them to suffer any sort of sentence or punishment or denial or anything like that. I want them to be perfectly happy. I want them whatever. So it's taking practice, but that's, that happens. So I'm going to keep these off. So when you feel tired, it is because you have judged yourself as being capable of being tired. When you laugh at someone, it is because you have judged him as unworthy. When you laugh at yourself, you must laugh at others, if only because you cannot tolerate the idea of being more unworthy than they are. All this makes you really capable of being tired, but you are very capable of wearying yourself. The strain of constant judgment is virtually intolerable. It is curious that an ability so debilitating would be so deeply cherished. Yet, if you wish to be the author of reality, you will insist on holding on to judgment. You will also regard judgment with fear, believing that it will someday be used against you. This belief can exist only to the extent that you believe in the efficacy of judgment as a weapon of defense for your own authority. Hmm. Well, that's true. A lot of people um, fear judgment, thinking that one day it will be used against them, especially because many times they use judgment as a weapon or defense of their own authority. So um, he's saying, it makes sense that some people would fear judgment because of their understanding of judgment and the way they use it against others. So if somebody came in that was more powerful than them and used judgment, they figure that that person's going to use judgment the same way they do, and that they, could be punished. So then he follows on sentence 6, saying, God, not sentence 6, I don't know what this is called. Paragraph 6, I apologize. God offers only mercy. Your words should reflect only mercy because that is what you have received and that is what you should give. Justice is a temporary expedient or an attempt to teach you in the meaning of mercy. It is judgmental only because you are capable of injustice. I have spoken of different symptoms, and at that level there is almost endless variation. There is, however, only one cause for all of them: the authority problem. This is the root of all evil. Every symptom the ego makes involves a contradiction in terms because the mind is split between the ego and the Holy Spirit. So that whatever the ego makes is incomplete and contradictory. This untenable position is the result of the authority problem, which, because it accepts the one inconceivable thought as its premise, can produce only ideas that are inconceivable. Sorry. The issue of authority is really a question of authorship. When you have an authority problem, it is always because you believe you are the author of yourself and project your delusion onto others. You then perceive the situation as one in which others are literally fighting you for your authorship. This is the fundamental error of all those who believe they have usurped the power of God. This belief is very frightening to them, but hardly troubles God. This belief, he is, however, eager to undo it, not to punish his children, but only because he knows that it makes them unhappy. God's creations are given their true authorship, but you prefer to be anonymous when you choose to separate yourself from your author. Being uncertain of your true authorship, you believe that your creation was anonymous. This leaves you in a position where it sounds meaningful to believe that you created yourself. The dispute over authorship has left such uncertainty in your mind that it may even doubt whether you really exist at all. Only those who give over all desire to reject can know that their own rejection is impossible. You have not usurped the power of God, but you have lost it. Fortunately, to lose something does not mean that it has gone. It merely means that you do not remember where it is. Its existence does not depend on your ability to identify it or even to place it. It is possible to look on reality without judgment and merely know that it is there. Peace is a natural heritage of spirit. Everyone is free to refuse to accept his inheritance, but he is not free to establish what his inheritance is. The problem everyone must decide is the fundamental question of authorship. All fear comes ultimately, and sometimes by way of very devious routes, from the denial of authorship. The offense is never to God, but only to those who deny him. To deny his authorship is to deny yourself the reason for your peace, so that you see yourself only in segments. This strange perception is the authority problem. There is no one who does not feel that he is imprisoned in some way. If this is the result of his own free will, he must regard his will as not free, or the circular reasoning in this position would be quite apparent. Free will must lead to freedom. Judgment always imprisons because it separates segments of reality by the unstable scales of desire. Wishes are not facts. To wish is to imply that willing is not sufficient. Yet no one in his right mind believes that what is wished is as real as what is willed. Instead of seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, say, will ye first seek will ye first the kingdom of heaven? And you have said, I know what I am, and I accept my own inheritance. Will ye first the kingdom of heaven? So this is really interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, I want to delve in, but I'm just tired and I'm a loser. But I love life and I love you. Okay, thank you. So, anyways, tomorrow we have section 7, creating versus the self-image. And then we'll be done with chapter 3 and into chapter 4, the illusions of the ego. So you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. Tomorrow I work a double, and then I'm heading to my parents' house. So I may not be able to do one of these videos, but I might. But I'll definitely make sure to do one Sunday. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Take care. And goodbye.